One damning element of arbitrariness is the destruction of human sensibility, magnanimity, and truth. It is evil in a simple terms. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has sealed a frontline supermarket located in the Garki area of Abuja. The commission's team was led by the acting vice chairman, Ahmed Abdullahi, even as they charged the supermarket of shortchanging customers by misleading pricing and a lack of transparency. Well, punishing bad behavior is a way to go, but let's hear from the officials of the FCCPC first before anything else.
Found out that these people are doing is misleading pricing and lack of transparency in their pricing, which is against Section 1153 of the law. Section 155 states that any corporate person or that contravenes this is liable to a fine of 100 million naira or even more. And the directors of the company themselves are liable upon conviction, payment of 10 million naira each, or imprisonment of 6 months or both. We called them to come and defend themselves. They refused, failed to show up. In the long run, they sent a lawyer whom we asked, are you familiar with the facts of this case? He said he wasn't.
You cannot mix items together and have a single price, and only when you get to the till, you get a different price. Now, the second one is that even for the same price, the same product, the same brand, the same item, there are different prices. We saw with the underwear, the same brand, one is 5,000 and the other price is 6,000. Imagine if you bought 10. That means you've been changed by 10,000 naira.
Yeah, exactly. Jide, punishing bad behavior is the way to go.
Yes.
At a time like this.
We have to keep doing that. If we were doing it at the level of 20%, we should go to 100% straight away. At a time when Nigerians are very angry, the worst we can do to ourselves is to allow those who infringe on our laws to get away with their infractions. And we've said here in the last few days that, yes, Nigerians are going through a lot. Yes, a lot has to change in the management of our economy. Yes, we need to strengthen our currency. It is not in a good place at this time. We know that. We know that people are hungry and therefore they are angry. But some Nigerians have taken it upon themselves to worsen the misery that we find ourselves in. As long as they can make money, they don't care. And they will join others in saying that the government is terrible.
Yeah.
I always say that so the people who criticize the government will say, this government is terrible. Some of them have even lost their humanism. There's no humanism in a lot of them. Because if you have humanism, for example, why would you choose to hike prices of food items, especially in the holy month of Ramadan?
Okay.
Why would you do that?
Okay.
And a good number of those doing that are Muslim.
Yeah.
Some of them are fasting. During the Ramadan, they fast. But that's the time when they choose to inflate the price of sugar, inflate the price of fruits, inflate the price of millets, and cocoa that people...
arbitrarily.
Senselessly. I've had governors plead that in this holy month, don't do it. But they believe, at this time people will buy a lot of oranges, people will buy a lot of apples,
fruits.
Then they will inflate the price. People whose line of business have no relationship with the dollar
will take advantage.
Somebody called me today to say that a bulb of tomato was being sold in Chagam at the rate of 100 naira, just one bulb.
Sizable, perhaps.
I don't even know the size. Just said it. So normally in the dry season, tomatoes are cheaper. But
okay.
yes, they are cheaper because it's in the rainy season.
Yeah.
At the peak of the rainy season, you don't.
Yeah.
It's usually costlier. But now people are trying to make money by any means possible. So when they tell you, oh, it's because of the dollar, what has the dollar got to do with tomatoes? It's grown here. We have a very long tomato belt in our country. So what are we talking about? It's not everything. It's not everything that you can link to the dollar in terms of the pricing. So in this case, what they said is, okay, the price list, the price tag indicates a different price to what they actually charge people. So you can sense that because it's a big department store. I go there a lot when I go to Abuja. It's very big. Perhaps they've not had enough time to go around, change the price tag on every item that they sell. But they've chosen to make people pay higher than what
should.
Yes. Perhaps in the season of the dollar going up and all that, they are trying to make sure that they go around increase the price of everything that they are selling. But they've not gone around. So with the price tag saying something different, you have no right, according to the law, to make people pay higher than what you have as the price tag.
Stipulated, yeah. You'd be surprised that Jamiu in our pep talk told me about cement.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission needs to do more. Visit the major manufacturers of cement, mainly Lafarge, Dangote, and Buhari. Find out what is their ex-factory cost, and now visit the major distributors. Well, somebody sent something to me this morning. I was just telling you before we got in here. Cement at 8 a.m. in Abuja, 7,000 naira. 2 p.m., 8,000 naira. 4 p.m., 8,500 naira. Same day.
As if you are watching a film.
I was like, and the guy said, the guy showed the store, he sent me, he said he can confirm. I was there in the morning, he bought some at 8 a.m. I was yesterday. Said he bought some at 8 a.m. for 7,000. He went back to take more. They said, no, it has increased. At 2 p.m., and the person was telling him that he should cuckoo buy more because the thing will increase again. By 4 p.m., so between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m., a difference of 1,500 per bag. Imagine if you are buying a truck. Is it that the person, the distributor was taking more per hour or what? So the things we do to ourselves in this country, we are our main enemies.
Yeah.
I think we are just wicked because I don't see how you want to profiteer. Now, about the Sahad stores, it must have been an honest mistake or probably negligence. Yes, because I have an idea of how a supermarket runs. You stock almost on a daily basis, depending on how your goods move. And normally, before December, prices were a bit stable. So for a year or in a window of 6 months, you might not need to change your prices. So you have some price tags on the shelves.
Okay.
Now, those price tags, when you are bringing in new stock, you compare, and each item has barcodes. So there are some guys at the back end who make sure that the prices on the shelf and the ones that they normally scan when you get to the counter are the same. So probably at the time they were restocking, normally they restock overnight, and at the time they were restocking, they forgot to change the prices on the shelf. And whereas, I mean, with just a click of the computer, you have affected the one that the scanner will scan on the item.
Yeah.
So if you fail to do that, you might be termed as being fraudulent, because, like I said, I understand the way a supermarket runs. It could be an honest mistake, but then in these days where people just increase prices arbitrarily, I mean, it could be a way of, because now, according to what that FCC PC official said, he said there are some of the items that were sold at 5,000 and some were sold at 6,000, which means there was complicity somewhere there. So had it been that everything they sold it at the same price, you can say, yes, it's an honest mistake. So Sahad stores needs to, because I have also bought things there in the past, and it's one of the very competitive supermarkets in Abuja. So for them to have found themselves in this kind of situation, I think the management needs to really dig deep and find out how this happened.
All right, Jami and Jide, at the moment we're between a rock and a hard place, so punishing bad behavior, as I said at the beginning, is the way to go.
Yes, and an ignorance of the law.
It's not an
It's not an alibi. Nobody, as long it is the interest of the consumer that the FCPC people are after.
Yeah.
If you exploit the consumer, we expect them to do their work.
Yeah.
This season, they remind us of what happened when Buhari took over in 1983. People were hoarding food items and the rest. And once the new governors came in, they forced those warehouses open.
Yeah.
And they sold those, they auctioned what they found there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before then, Nigerians were complaining that essential commodities, that was the first time I heard about essential commodities.
Esenko.
Yes, milk, sugar, and the rest. They were difficult to find. I could remember in Ilani when it happened. One famous businessman, he burst into tears when they flung his warehouse open and they auctioned those things there. So this is not the time for us to continue to punish ourselves. I'm happy that we are now going after even those who are hoarding food items, so that we can help our people who are in distress at this time.
Thank you. Let's go to our next story. You know, inflation, it must be said, is as frightening as an armed robber and as deadly as a hitman. Hear this. Nigeria's annual inflation rate rose to 29.9% in January from 28.92% in December 2023. The National Bureau of Statistics gave this sickening figure, and food inflation rate in January quickened to 35.41% on a year-to-year basis. We are far from home, wouldn't you say, Jamil?
We are really, really, really far. The rate at which, especially, you can see there's the general inflation index. There is the month-on-month. I mean, when you compare December and January, that one is just like 2.5%. But if you compare January of 2024 to January of 2023, then you see a marked difference.
Yeah.
Even at that, that's for general inflation. For food inflation, in fact, my advice to husbands now, including myself, don't follow your wife to the market. Don't say, if your wife tells you, bring 50,000, let me go and shop, quickly give it to her.
If you can.
If you can. Because if you want to say, let me go and do it, you will end up spending more.
Yeah.
Because it has really gotten to that stage. And anytime, before I used to follow my wife to the market, we'll go together, but these days I find a way to dodge, because you just keep spending. It is really, really serious. And I think we made a clarion call to the president here last week. If you could recall that, the president should call the governors to a meeting and tell them to give them a marching order to do something, that people are suffering. And that, I think that happened yesterday. So we need to find a way to cushion this effect. The pain is too much. People are really, really hungry.
Yeah.
People are really, really hungry. And I want to also commend the Lagos State government. The 750 million grant given to market women. I think it will ease the way they do business in the market. Because basically, it was for 15,000 market women in Lagos at, I think, 50,000 naira each. I think they did that yesterday. They call it traders' money. That will go a long way to, because some of them, why most of these prices, food prices are up is that most of these women, you know what they do? They go to all these microfinance banks to borrow as little as 20,000, 30,000 naira, which they are going to pay back at very exorbitant interest rates. They call it, quote unquote, bomulilanta. You mean your mind is not almost at rest. I mean, you are always palpitating. The first thing you want to do is to find a way of paying that loan. So while even struggling to pay the loan, they make mistakes. And so it's a very good gesture from the Lagos State government. And if other states too can also do that as a palliative.
Majid, I must be quick to mention Ogun State.
Yeah,
Ogun State.
Ogun also did a similar thing yesterday. And states have a critical role to play. I think we have called them to order. We have challenged those governors, and I think more of them should assist the federal government. They have these resources. Most states are getting more than 50% of what they used to get pre-June 2023. Now, I doubt if there's a state today that goes home with less than 5 billion naira a month. Because the savings we are making from the removal of fuel subsidy goes mostly to the state governments and the local governments. So they should be able to pump this into the system so that it can percolate down to the ordinary man on the street. And they should not do it on a party basis. We are all Nigerians. It's not only APC members that vote for governors in APC states. It's not only PDP members that vote for governors in PDP states. So they should allow this thing to go around across all parties. We are all Nigerians.
Jide, you know, they say statistics are no substitute for judgment. So, but the figures coming in from the NBS are sickening.
They are, and the good thing about the statistics from the NBS is that they don't do it alone. They have credibility because they also work with some foreign partners and all that. So at the end of the day, it's a wholesome work that they do for us, you know, which will help us in taking big decisions. The truth is, the removal of subsidy is what has pushed inflationary trend to the level that we are seeing now. And food inflation is at the heart of this rise. Because you need to move food from one part of the country to another. And we all know that cost of transport has really gone up significantly. Whether you are moving from local government to local government, the cost of transportation has gone up. You understand? So I remember when we traveled home for my dad's coronation, people had to pay 10,000, 11,000 to move from Lagos to Kogi states. And you are wondering, in the past, the cost of even flying from Lagos to Kaduna was 1,000 naira. I remember when I was a correspondent in Kano. It was just 1,000 naira to move from Lagos by air to Abuja. Now 10,000 to move by road in one rickety bus to Kogi State. So transport costs went up significantly after the removal of subsidy.
As expected?
Of course, because the price of petrol went up threefold. You know now, you buy petrol. It went up threefold, and you don't expect the bus driver, the transporter,
not to hike.
Not to hike, because he's not doing it
pro rata.
So that is the reason food prices are very high in our country. And then, of course, insecurity. We must defeat insecurity to stem the tide of food inflation, because many of these farmers can't even access their farms. In some cases, they are made to pay levies. Boko Haram, in places that they control, force our people to pay levies. Bandits, in areas where they are quite strong, force farmers to pay levies. And if you don't pay, you are playing with your life. So all of these add up to high cost of food. And then, because they talked about cereals, butter and the rest.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I bought butter, a small jar, for 1,400 naira. Anything that is imported, or anything that the raw material that they use are imported, of course you should expect that the price will go. That's why bread.
Sorry, we have a Kelechi waiting to join us. He is in Lagos. Kelechi, I greet you. Welcome.
Raw material.
How do you do, Kelechi? Can you hear me?
That's why bread.
Okay. Better luck next time. Yeah, so what to do now?
No, so that's what I'm saying. You see, bread, for example, in the last 3 years, premium bread has moved from 250 naira. Premium bread from 250 naira to about 1,300.
Okay. Yeah.
1,300, depending on which brand you are buying. 1,300. So look at that jump from 250 naira to 1,300. It's a jump.
Fourfold.
Yes.
And you are forced to ask what's new.
They've been complaining that, look, the things that they use, the raw material, sugar's price has been going up, flour, baking powder, butter especially.
Granite oil.
Butter. So you can see, it's so, there's a lot of them are out of business already.
Yeah.
We have to save Nigerians from suicides, from job losses, by reflecting this economy. The ministers in charge of the economy, now they have to sit up.
And commissioners for agriculture across the state.
Yes, because states are not doing anything by way of cultivation on a big scale.
Yeah.
We are talking about, food is the problem. But the states own the land.
Yeah.
So why are they not doing enough?
Because they can.
Yes, of course, we know they can. All the governors do is simply go to Abuja and sit down there and just relax. Start something. And I'm happy that during that meeting with the president, they talked about the need to do certain things. I want to see improvement. Let's see what they are doing by way of food production. Because we have to save our people. We can't just sit here and be complaining that, food is costly. What are the states doing? You all have a commissioner for agric and all that. What do they do to support food production?
All right. Jeremy, before we go on a break.
Yeah, basically, I think the states really, we need to call them to action once more. You travel between Lagos and Ibadan, and you see a vast land. Arable land.
Arable, yeah.
We need to put those lands to use. The states, it's only the state that has the capacity to do this. Because when you travel abroad, you travel for like 20, 30 kilometers, all you see are farmlands growing different types of food crops. And we can make that happen in Nigeria. And most of these arable land, they are lands that you don't even need fertilizer for things to grow there.
Okay. All right. time to take a break. We'll go on this break. Please come with us and stay there. We will come back to continue. JH, please. Thank you for cooperation.
The Military Pensions Board is pleased to announce the launch of the Electronic Verification Management System, a web-based application designed to enable its pensioners carry out their verification from the comfort of their homes using a mobile device without the need to gather for any physical verification. The application helps to confirm that pensioners on the board's payroll are alive and eligible to continue receiving their pension. This is in line with the board's mandate to uphold the dignity and welfare of its pensioners. Considering the novelty of this initiative, the application will be deployed in phases, starting with a pilot test in which 300 pensioners drawn from each of the 36 states of the Federation would participate. The pilot test will take place from 19 February to 1st March 2024. Pensioners selected to participate in this pilot test have been notified via SMS. Other pensioners who are not part of this pilot test will not be able to gain access to the system at this time. On successful completion of the pilot test, the application will be deployed in full scale for all pensioners on the board's payroll to carry out their verification. Management Announcer.
All right, welcome back, folks. Let's go to our next story. Now, a successful negotiation is not about getting to say yes. It is more about mastering no and understanding what the path to an agreement is. And so after a number of fits and starts, President Bola Tinubu and state governors agreed to establish the state police in my country, your country. The idea is to check the rising wave of insecurity in the country. And now of the 6 major decisions taken at the meeting with the governors, the number one citizen directed that state governments should collaborate with the federal government to increase food production while shunning the idea of food importation, when local food producers should be encouraged to produce more food. So let's share the story by TVC News' Femi Akonde. Yes, good old Femi, we're with you.
The meeting between President Bola Tinubu and the 36 state governors ended with critical resolutions that will provide solutions in the interim and in the future. The food crisis has piled pressure on governments at all levels and also threatens national security. Among several solutions thrown at ensuring food security, the federal government insists there are no plans to import food, as Nigeria has the potential to feed itself.
The governors and Mr. President have taken this decision that security agencies will cooperate or collaborate with the state governors to ensure that this ends. Number 2, a decision has also been taken that in the interest of our country, there will be no need for food importation at this point. Nigeria has the potential to feed itself and even be a next exporter of food items to other countries.
In considering a holistic approach to implementing the state of emergency declared in the agriculture sector by President Bola Tinubu in the early days of his administration, there seems to be a consensus on the need to establish state police and enhance the capacity of forest rangers to complement the efforts of conventional security agencies.
They have thanked Mr. President for all that he's doing, and they've also asked him to do more so that at the end of the day, we will have a completely secured Nigeria. Now, in this...
It also must continue to guarantee the safety of lives and property. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, welcome back. They say when men and mountains meet, great things are done.
Great things happen.
Yeah.
I'm happy that some of the issues that we've always raised here came up during that meeting. And yes, we won't begin to see the impact of the decisions reached immediately, but there has to be serious commitment to implementing the decisions that they've reached. We can have state police if everyone applies himself to making it happen. Yes, the Constitution recognizes only one police, you know, but the Constitution has to be amended. Some of us opposed the idea of state police for years, but we have reached that point now in our history when we can no longer say we do not want state police. The central policing structure has not delivered the goods. Again, we do not even have enough policemen. We do not have enough policemen. It's one of the reasons you cannot police the forest, for example, because we don't have enough men to do that. We don't have enough soldiers. We don't have enough policemen. Some of the armies in Africa, like Algeria, for example, they have hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Yes, you could say, okay, years of war and all that, you know, pushed Egypt and Algeria to take defense that seriously. But yes, for many years, our neighbors were very peaceful and all that. But now we have to contend with war within our borders.
On the inside.
Within our borders. And what this has told us is that we have to increase the number of our security forces and then allow for community policing and state policing.
Yeah.
We have no choice. Forest rangers, they do the job of the police in the forest. Our forests have been left unattended for many years. Look, Sambisa was a forest reserve, left unattended for years. Boko Haram came and began to put it to use. That was where the Abacha's BGs and the strike force were being trained.
That's bodyguards and so on.
Yes, they call them strike force and BG.
Yeah.
You know, that was where they were trained. But today is the natural habitation for Boko Haram. When you mention Sambisa, everybody remembers Boko
Haram. Yeah.
We have to police our forests. The president, in his renewed hope document, in his manifesto, talked about forest rangers as people that will be used to protect the forest. This is the time for the president to ensure full implementation of a promise that he made to Nigerians. Whether in Plateau or in Taraba, we need forest rangers to man our forests. That's the only way that we can stop those frequent attacks on villages, because it's from the forest that they move in, attack our people. Go to Benue State. There are not less than 10 IDP camps in Benue State because criminal headsmen have been killing people in their villages. So
at will.
At will, even in the Zone C of Benue, the Agatu area, upper people, they've been killing people. The criminal headsmen have been killing people. But if we police these forests, we train the forest rangers, we arm them sufficiently, they will be able to stand up to these guys. So I want them to take the issue of forest rangers seriously. Mr. President, if that is what he can do for us in the area of security, we'll be very happy, because they will not just help us protect our people, they will also protect farmers. In Borno State, they got them to protect farmers. So farmers are working on their feet. You see armed men, made up largely of civil defense corps. They are protecting them. We need to protect our people. We can't watch our people being killed by non-state actors the way it's happening.
Yeah.
Because it also has some connection even with food production.
Oh, yeah, largely.
Yes,
Yeah.
because if you cannot access your farm, how do you produce? This is the dilemma. I'm telling you that in Katsina State, for example, district heads have fled their villages. They are now in the state capital. It's the same thing that has happened in Borno State. District heads can't stay
in their domains
anymore because they know they will be killed.
Yeah.
So these boys now believe that, okay, they rule the forest. Where is Dogo Gide, for example? He's hiding in a forest somewhere. Where is Bello Tuji? He's hiding in a forest somewhere. Where is Kachala? He's hiding in a forest somewhere.
These are kingpins.
These are bandit kingpins, billionaire bandits, because bandits who can organize to kidnap a good number of people and collecting 100,000 on each person. They are billionaires already. Okay. That's why Dogo Gide had the guts to be asking for 700 million in one operation. And when they told him about this thing, this is too high, he said, do the governors not have access to much more than that? And they said, but you are not a governor. He said, but I'm a governor of the forest. I mean, it sounded funny listening to him. But this is where we found ourselves.
We need to call the
governors have to come together. You see, that meeting with the president was long overdue. We as journalists, we were saying, look, these people, they can do much more than they are doing. And that's why I'm happy that the governor of Ogun State rolled out all of those things that he said he would do. Now we have to be on his coattails to ensure that the promises made to our people are fulfilled. He has to do that. And he does that, people will remember his time. And we are waiting for others to also help ease this pain. We are not saying, oh, do it on a permanent basis, but try to, let's even see you ease the pain. A lot of money now comes to these governors from the subsidy that the president stopped. But it's the president that people are swearing for now. Governors are benefiting from the subsidy. Some are taking 3 times what they usually would take. People are not cursing them. It is one man that every man they are cursing. They believe that he's a juju man. That once he comes into office, miracles start.
You don't blame them. Mr. President is a team captain.
He's a team captain, but if we all imagine, oh, because he's a team captain, then we expect him to do the miracles while people leave their own jobs undone. If I sit here and I say, yes, I'm in charge of current affairs here, and other people who support me do not do their work, programs will fail. As we sit here, some people are in one small room ensuring that things work. If they are not there, maybe your audio, you won't even hear, they won't hear you at home. They won't hear you at home. So this is what we are saying. It is a symbiotic relationship. They all need to work together. Believing that, oh, because somebody is the president, he has the answer to all the problems is foolhardy. The governors must play their role in their state.
Because they are parts of a whole.
Yes, that is the point that we are making. Look at the game of football. There are 3 departments. You have the attack, you have the midfield, you have the defense. They all must complement one another. They don't have to be the best players in the world. But once they complement one another, then you are talking about a good team. That's the way it should be.
But one of the 6 major decisions reached at the meeting between number 1 and the governors is no food importation. It makes me, it tells me on the inside, we can do it. We can do without food importation.
Yes,
what do you think?
Because food importation is a lazy way out. It's a very, very lazy way out. And beyond that, the president also emphasized that there will be no price control board. I mean, he said those 2 things together. And while saying there will be no food importation, he said there are some quick wins that we need to take into consideration, like supporting farmers with the release of fertilizer, grains, to assist them with farming. But well, there is also the issue of security, which we need to tackle, because without security in those farming belts, the food baskets of the nation,
all will be
useless. Because in a situation where a farmer goes to his farm, and when it's time for harvest, and the bandits come and tell him to be paying a ransom, or even drives them away, it becomes a critical issue.
Yeah.
And that's why I'll go back to the issue of state police, which is quite commendable, and it's something that they should start now, because it is something that when they start today, it might take 1.5 years to materialize, because there's a section of the Constitution, which the item 45 part 1 of the second schedule of the 1999 Constitution vests the power for state policing for policing exclusively on the federal government. That's the management, control, and funding of police, which will be known as the Nigerian Police Force. So before this could be changed, the National Council of States will need the support of the National Assembly, and that is at least 2/3 of the Senate and 2/3 of the House of Reps, which is 72 and 240 members. And beyond that, they also need to take it to the state level. They will need the concurrence of 24 states,
36
or 24, which is 2/3 houses of
the FCT too,
and of the FCT, of the Parliament of the FCT. So to be able to change the constitution to allow for a state police. So this is a long journey, is a marathon that we need to start now. It's not a quick fix. It's not a 100-meter.
It's not a dash.
It's not a dash. So we need to start it. But before we get to that, there are some other things that the president can do, which happened in Ekiti. When those KBACs were killed by those marauders in Ekiti, and some pupils were kidnapped, the Ekiti governor went to the president, to give him a situation report, and also met with the service chiefs. Today, there is a detachment of the military that has been posted to Ekiti, combing all the forests. This should not be limited to Ekiti alone.
Yeah.
All other states in the country should have this kind of intervention to prevent that kind of, we should not wait until monarchs are killed, or even, the life of every Nigerian matters, not the life of KBACs alone. So we should not wait till things like this happen before we move into action. So this is going to be like a chain reaction. When we have security, that's when we can ensure food security, because there is no point having the farmlands and people are afraid to go there because of the fear of being kidnapped by bandits. So all these things work together. And we should also commend the management of the economy, because bigger economies are going into recession. The Japanese economy has gone to recession. The UK economy just went to recession yesterday. So, and how do this happen? The moment you cannot, your gross domestic product, you can't grow it positively for 2 consecutive quarters, you go into recession.
Yeah.
But in our own case, we are still able to manage, which means we are still trying, but people are groaning. People are hungry. We need to do something. They should release more grains. The governors should do more. We keep saying it. The governors
because they can.
More because they can.
They can.
The president released 5 billion naira each to all the states, and out of which I think they have been mobilized with 2 billion. And apart from that, they are having an increase in exchange rate. The difference between the exchange rates, they are getting some money from there. They are getting some money from VAT. All this has increased. They are also getting money from the removal of subsidy. So all these monies cumulatively go to states and the local governments. They should push some of these monies out, as we have seen in some states.
I think also that the governors should double up their efforts in stopping people from needlessly hoarding food. People need to have access to food to buy, but some people are hoarding these things. I appreciate the decision that the governor of Niger State took. Some people may come to the conclusion that it was crazy, but you can't be moving out of Niger with truckloads of food that the people...
But these are crazy times.
So you can't be... And a lot of the food being moved in trucks actually being moved out of this country. I've spoken about this before, that I went to the Northeast and I saw them taking truckloads of food across the border. You come and then say, oh, we don't have enough grains in our country, corn or maize. Maize is too expensive and killing a poultry business. But we cannot continue to stop, our people from having access to these things. But this is the point that we are making. Stop those people who are hoarding food so that our people can find the food to buy. So the governor of Niger State, I commend him because it is in his state that these demonstrations began. So he has to find a way to solve the problem.
All right.
Not that he will just sit back and watch people starve to death. So they need to do something along that line. They must do their best to bring food prices down.
Yeah, because
these food prices are unreal. People,
artificial.
Yes, people increasing food prices because of the dollar. A lot of this is ridiculous. Even things that have nothing to do. Look at cement, for example. Cement, the bulk of the raw materials that...
limestone, we have it here.
Gypsum, limestone, the main raw materials.
Sorry, let's reach out to Henry. Henry is reaching us from Port Harcourt. Henry, good evening. Welcome. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, all.
Let's go.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Yeah, good evening, Mr. Babajide. Good evening, sir. Please, this is very worrisome, and I really appreciate the fact that you people always hitting on this to see that there's a solution. But honestly, like today, my friend just told me now that a bag of cement is selling for 10,000 naira. So we have the problems from different angles, and we're just confused where the solution is going to come out from. But one of the things I had a discussion with a friend was, okay, in the previous administration, for instance, you have a Minister of State for Petroleum who said they were going to borrow $1.5 billion to fix the refineries. Till today, we don't know what is made of those things. We talk about in power. In the previous administration, they talk about cement and everything, and all that. It didn't start with this government, even though it's an APC party and all that. The road is so bad, sir, and it's making us scared where we're heading to, sir. That's just my concern.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you.
It's a very valid point. Some people have made up their minds, including some of my friends on social media. When people talk about the need for us to do a tie back in trying to appreciate where we found ourselves, they don't even want you to go there. They want the world to believe that the problem just started in June 2023. I mean, it's ridiculous. Because if some of these issues, look at insecurity, for example, if some of these issues were addressed frontally, the incoming administration, the new administration wouldn't have inherited it. So this is the thing. When people talk about subsidy, oh, he shouldn't have touched subsidy, they fail to realize that at the point we were even taking loans to pay for subsidy. So which country can survive on that?
Is it sustainable?
Already debt servicing outstripped what we were generating. Debt service, what we were spending And then we made up our minds to even borrow money to service debt. Abi Mojid.
Yeah. Which is
we are going to borrow money to service debt. When you borrow money to service debt, will the debt ever go? So some people don't know the extent of the problem we face. When we were lied to that we had 33 billion in foreign reserve, it took JP Morgan to let us know that you people have been lied to. You don't have more than 3.3 billion left.
Yeah.
Any Nigerians don't know these things. So if we even wanted to defend the dollar, Emefiele defended the dollar with $11 billion in 7 months. Defended our currency with $11 billion in 7 months. Even if you wanted to do that, the money was no longer there.
Yeah.
The buffers that we had during the Jonathan era, those buffers are gone. So
I remember when state governors went to former President Jonathan.
Let's share the money. Extra, you know, the Constitution, the framers of the Constitution never imagined that Nigeria should save money. What is in the Constitution is all the monies that should be shared. They never said, okay, let's begin to save
for a rainy day.
No such thing in the Constitution. And that was where Rotimi Amechi and others who went to confront the president that, look, we must share this money.
Yeah.
That was what they said. You know, they went all the way to Supreme Court.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they were saying, that the Constitution says we must share. It didn't say we should save.
All right. Jami, one last
and that's why I still commend what this administration is doing. Imagine a situation where under a CBN governor, the signature of a president and the secretary of the government, they took $6.2 million cash from the vote of the CBN under Emefiele to pay election observers. Is it the duty of the CBN to pay election observers? What's the role of INEC?
Have you also forgotten the revelation from the auditor that monies recovered by the EFCC
gone,
that they cannot trace?
They can't trace it in CBN under Emefiele.
All of the money that the EFCC...
And we are here...
Gentlemen, we must go. Time is a master here. Majid Jamiu, many thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Jones, and thanks, Nigerians.
Yeah, Biko, many thanks for your time, too.
Many thanks.
That will just about do it. If you missed any part of this show, join us later tonight at 11. But don't forget, on Sunday, we expand the field for you from 1:30 to 3:30. Also, just to inform you, we are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.